Alrighty. Hey guys! So I decided to do a video on pharmacology because that was probably one of my hardest classes. So let's get started. One of my first tips is try to reach out to somebody early if you can and get a drug list so you can start reading and getting familiar with some of your drugs. So this is my drug list. It's pretty beat up. So these are my drugs, front and back. So I wrote down the page numbers and then I wrote down which exams they were going to be on, just because when you're like studying and stuff like that, if you need a very quick reference, you can just go here and find them. So yeah, so that's what I did. I would suggest that if you can grab this from a friend early and start reading through the book and just finding out what pages they're on and stuff like that, that would help you like dramatically. My second like little tidbit of advice would be to get familiar with like general drug names, but the generics. So like you're not gonna have Tylenol on like pharmacology, you're gonna have acetaminophen. So some people don't know that, and it's surprising, like it's not surprising because a lot of people like don't know drugs, they just know the like brand names because that's what people know. That's what we use regularly. So but the NCLEX uses generic names, so that way it's like a nationwide thing. So just make sure that you get familiar with generic names. My other thing would be Pinterest. Pinterest is probably going to be one of your best friends. So I found like a little chart on Pinterest that's like it said like OLOL or your beta blockers. We have SONE, which is your steroids most of the time. We have IPINE is your calcium channel blockers, and like the ending PRIL is normally your ACE inhibitors. So little things like that, so that way when you start school and you're looking at all these drugs, you have a little thing just to break down certain ones. Now, not every single drug has an ending or follows that pattern, so make sure you're just aware of that. My second tidbit of advice, or third, or whatever, how many this is, the one thing I really wish that I had known was about Pharm phlash. I had ordered them prior to starting. Let me see. So I ordered them prior to starting class, and sorry, I'm trying to get myself in focus. So I ordered them before class, and I was like, you know what? Like, there's just way too much information on them when I started class, and I'll just show you one. Like the first one's acetaminophen. So this is like what the drug card looks like, different names and what we know as acetaminophen. And then this is the back. So it's got all these side effects. Is it backwards? And all this stuff. So you can really get an idea of like how much stuff is on them. So when I first started class, I'm like, oh my god, there's way too much, I don't need to know all this. And so I didn't use them. And honestly, acetaminophen wasn't one of my first drugs. So some of them aren't in here, so you have to make sure you have flashcards that match the size. So like these are random, but these are like the big ones, and they are the same size as these, so they match. That way when I put them all together, they're not like different sizes and stuff like that. So what I ended up doing, not until the fourth exam, which helped me dramatically because I came from like a 70-80 to a 96. So instead of wasting my time with making flashcards or like making stuff, I would go through, like I'll show you a couple of these. These were like the ones I last tested on. I would go through and make like my own, like underline certain things, and only what I needed to know, that are the things that like I thought were important or whatever. Like let's see, like here's one, fluconazole here. And then like what was important there, what I needed to know up top, what the therapeutic effect was. That way I wasn't looking at the whole card. My only suggestion with these is that like there's a coating over them, so you can't highlight them. Like I tried, I don't know if you can tell, and it just would like rub off and get all over everything. I ended up buying the really thin Sharpie marker pens, and that ended up working for me. So like these drugs weren't on there, so like then I made my own little note cards from the book and stuff like that for them, and like they're mixed in here. Picmonic doesn't work for me, but it works for a lot of other people. So it's like breaks down, like you can get it on YouTube and they can like show you little videos, or you can get the app. One of my biggest study features for pharmacology was a whiteboard. I bought a whiteboard. It's not in this room because originally I was living in another room in the house until my parents wanted to redo the house, and now I have this gorgeous room. Thank you, Mom and Dad. So what I would do is I would break down my my whiteboard into a chart. So at the top I would put the drug, and then I put classification, therapeutic effects, side effect, adverse effects, contraindication, food interactions, labs I need to watch out for, and teaching. Because teaching is like the most important thing in pharmacology with nursing. So I would go through and I would pull it from our brain. Like, because when you're pulling from brain without looking, because I don't know about you, but for me, I cheat. So I will go through a like flashcard and say like, it's this word. I'll pick apart that word, or like indicators that reminded me of what that word was. So like, when you pull from the back of your brain, it's knowledge. Like, it's stuff that your brain actually has to like search through and find for itself. So when I'm looking at a blank board and I'm like, okay, acetaminophen, it's also Tylenol. This is the classification is oh my god, this is embarrassing. Classification is a non-opioid analgesic, I'm pretty sure. It's my life. So that was that. And then I would do my therapeutic effect with like the fever reducer and like for pain and stuff like that. Like my adverse effects, what they would be like, and every adverse is going to be like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, like all that. So like those are things you don't really want to focus on. So I would just pull everything onto the whiteboard and I would like write as much as I can possibly, and then I would check it later. So yeah, so that's what I did. I actually found a couple libraries in the area who have whiteboards, and also the school has like study rooms with whiteboards, but a lot of times if you don't like schedule them ahead of time, like you don't get one. So I would highly recommend learning the classifications. When you learn a classification, it makes it much easier to remember those drugs. So if I remember this class, and that class of like 5 drugs all has similar side effects, for each individual drug in that class, I'll go through and pick out what stands out. So if like this is ototoxicity for this drug and it's not for the rest of them, remember that side effect or adverse effect for that drug. So that's like the easiest way I could possibly tell you to memorize things. Don't try to memorize every single drug. So important to understand like how the drug affects the body and why the nursing process is so important for pharmacology. So you're not like, obviously you're not going to memorize like every single side effect. You can't, like, and honestly you're going to waste a lot of your time if you do that. So whatever your teacher like constantly says over and over again, like if I was a nursing student, I would want to know this, or whatever it is, or their little tidbits that they do, like, or hints like, hey, know this, highlight it in your book and put it on a flashcard because it's probably important. And then, like I said, really know the nursing process, because this will tie everything together for you and you'll really understand like why this affects this and why these side effects happen, and the side effect becomes too much, is it an adverse, like all that stuff. Like certain people, and it will tell you about, why do I have hair everywhere? So it will tell you about like the different food interactions and why. And make up tricks for the exam, because let me tell you, you studied all these side effects, all these adverse, you're killing it, you're like, yes, I'm gonna get on the exam, I'm totally gonna like make this test my bitch. Let me just tell you, the second you take your exam, everything morphs together. You have so many drugs in 11 weeks and they all start to like go together, and side effects are so similar in so many aspects. Like everything affects liver, everything affects your kidneys. Like it's so hard to know what does what. So my thing, and I didn't learn this till the 4th exam, great, but it helped me, and it helped me, like, that's the reason I passed the class, was I made tricks. So I don't know what the heck they're called, I can't remember. So like this one is, I don't know if you can read it, don't get alongside the light. The first letter of each of those words stands for something. So like the reason it says don't get alongside the light is because the drugs with these first letters are photosensitive. So I can't even say like azithromycin, gentamicin, doxycycline, levofloxacin, and trimethoprim, sulfonylurea. So that's what I did. Like, and this helped me. So as soon as I got to my exam, I wrote down all the little things I try to remember to help me get these things. Like Tala's got crystals, and she likes to remember, she loves her crystals. So this is going to be for your crystalluria. So Tala is the main thing, so that's going to be amoxicillin, aciclovir, levofloxacin, and trimethoprim, whatever. So because these were really important for us to know, so that's why I went through and I made all these little tidbits with my group of friends. So I had like 20 of these for the last exam. Like if you, like teeth discoloration, like large giant dome for increase in intracranial pressure, like double D's on that bitch. No airway, so that's obviously you're having bronchospasms. More numbness, loss of grasp, so that's going to be your peripheral neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, whatever, you know what I mean. And then like my pee not yellow. So which one of these like drugs discolor your urine? So you just have to make up little things, because as soon as I got to my exam, I sat down, like glatt. Girls like a lot of talking. So then that was like tinnitus, like you need to be able to hear somebody's talking. So yeah, so that's like what we did. I did a million of them. So I think those are highly important to do, because it'll break up all those drugs into different kinds of problems you'll have with differentiating between side effects and adverse effects and stuff like that, and it'll help you remind you about the nursing process. So if you have tinnitus, we got to be careful of hearing loss, and we need to be able to report this to the physician, stuff like that. And my biggest regret for this class was not taking this class alone. I was a CNA for like 6 months years ago. I liked bartending, I liked the easy cash, so I just went that route. I had no experience with medication. So when I took this class, and because it's 11 weeks, I wish that I had more time to really harp on these subjects and really get to know these drugs, because I feel like that would make me a better nurse. If you have the opportunity, and it's 11 weeks is like 3 months. So who cares about pushing your graduation back 3 months when you actually, like, as a nurse, get to know these drugs way more in depth, and it'll help you on your NCLEX and for the rest of your nursing program and career and everything else like that. So that was my biggest thing. Definitely tab your book, so like the different sections and stuff like that. I did by exam and drug kinds and stuff like that. That way when you're like, your teacher's referencing something, you just flip it open right to where it is. So yeah, so I tried cramming this in. Hopefully I like covered what you guys wanted me to cover. After this, I'll be doing a little funds video, and I'll be posting them. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Throw them in the comments. I'll try to answer them the best I can. I will post a couple pictures throughout this video also of like my study habits, maybe a couple of these. And don't forget that like a study group is good as long as you guys are teaching each other and using your time wisely and not gossiping about a teacher or nursing students or what your boyfriend or girlfriend is doing and pissing you off. Because like the time that you spend in class or like studying needs to be like smart. So we're trying to break this up and try to like see if you guys can make up different acronyms or stuff like that for different sections, whatever you need to do. So be a good student, study hard, and good luck, guys. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my page, and give me as much feedback as you can, because feedback is never negative. Alrighty guys, thanks.